Freshman year of college was by far the hardest year of my life. And even though freshman year, Gracie would be out of her mind to hear me say this, I wouldn't go back and change it. Looking back now as a senior, that year shaped me in ways that no other years have, and it made me into the person I'm incredibly proud to be today. If you're anything like me, you're probably hearing your friends and seeing online people talking about how excited they are for college to start. But you are terrified. And you're not alone. I think one of the hardest things for people to do, especially people going into college right out of high school, is to be honest about the way that they're feeling. That's an incredibly mature skill to possess. It's hard, okay? So don't feel left out. You're not alone. For reference, to make you feel better, before I even moved into college, I'm talking probably mid July, I cried more days that month than I did not. And when I say cried, I was crying. It felt like my entire life that I'd lived up until that point had been uprooted because it was so great and I had so many friends and I had so many people around me that I loved and I finally was at a place where I wanted to be around my family all the time and I could not imagine changing that and then it ever feeling normal again. It couldn't get past the idea that that was the last time I was going to live in the same house as my family again. It be like I was actually living there. My anxiety wasn't just emotional, it showed up physically. I was breaking out. I had a sty 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave. That has never happened to me before. I was stressed. Genuinely felt like my entire body was like resisting this change. Okay. Like, that's the only way I can think to describe it is that I was so adverse to the idea of it. Looking back on all of that now, and after doing all of the work that I've done, I see that nothing was wrong with me. I was just grieving one season of my life while I was stepping into another one. That's an incredibly hard thing to do. And everyone goes through it, whether they want to admit it or not. College is, for most people, is the biggest shift that they've experienced, right? So we go through these big life events, and most of the time we've not had to do it alone because our parents have been there to help us do it, right? Which is the first one of many, unfortunately, big shifts in our lives that are really hard to go through, no matter who you are. Consider yourself strong because that is a very hard thing to do. You should be proud. That summer before going in August, I had so much of my time mourning the life that I had previously. I couldn't even fathom the idea of being another version of my life that I would love just as much, if not more. So I want to help you because I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't know anyone like me going into school, and I think if I had, it would have been a lot more helpful. When I got to college, I genuinely thought something was wrong with me. Seriously, because everyone around me, they were having the best time. I feel like I saw so many people, even my roommates. I was like, how are they having such a good time? Why is no one talking about this? Like, this is so hard. And I was only 45 minutes away from home, okay? I could not imagine being further. It was insane. And on the same subject, I felt like everyone had friends. I feel like everyone made friends immediately and like they were always doing things with those people. And I made friends with my roommates. I love my roommates. They're still my best friends now. But I was like, I feel like everyone else is clicking with someone and I'm not. It feels wrong. Let me be the first to tell you that's just simply not true. Clicking with someone immediately, right off the bat, is so rare. Those are very rare friendships, and you should treasure them if you have them. But most people, it takes a little bit longer to get to a level like that with someone. And the friendships that you're seeing those first weeks, and of course, there are outliers here, but for the most part, those friendships that you're seeing are surface level friendships. They're not deep, intentional friendships that feed the soul, you know? So I don't want you to stress about that. Put yourself out there. You need to do things. Beginning of college, you should absolutely set boundaries for yourself, right? 1000%. I wasn't going to get this is like a weird one. Well, it's a weird one nowadays, but I wasn't going to get a fake ID. That was a boundary I'd set. I was like, no, no. That's not me. I don't think I want to do that. I tried my hardest and honestly I could have done better about it. I think it's really important to say yes to everything as long as it stays within your boundaries. If it makes you a little uncomfortable, you should do it. You got to do things to make you uncomfortable. That's the only way to grow. And in the beginning, everyone's in the same boat, right? Everyone feels the exact same way about each other. Everyone wants to make friends. Everyone's looking for their people. It's the time to say yes to everything and everyone and do whatever you can because you never know what's going to come out of it. Everyone's path is different when it comes to struggling. I'm doing a little bit of a vibe switch on you here, but bear with me. I'm going to circle back around. Everyone has a different path when it comes to handling something like this, right? So, whenever I started college, it was probably it was around November. I actually remember it very vividly because unfortunately, it was incredibly traumatic for me. Around November, I was like, I need help. I cannot do this. I was getting up to go to class. I would go, I would come back, and I would get back in my bed. Everything was boring to me. Nothing held my interest. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to exist. I felt like I was in a hole that I was unable to climb out of, if that makes sense. That's depression. That is how I've always explained it to people in my life to help them understand, but it is literally a hole that I cannot for the life of me climb out of. And so I decided to hit up my therapist. And because I hadn't been talking to her, my fault, that's on me. But I hadn't been talking to her, and she was like, yeah, so, and mind you, I've talked to her before. I struggled with depression before my senior year because I was freaking out. She gave me tools to help me get out of that, and it did help. This time, she was like, you should make an appointment with your doctor, and you should probably get on antidepressants because you cannot get yourself up to base level where you're at right now. It's just not possible. This is what I'm getting at with everyone's journey is different. Maybe you don't want to go on antidepressants. Maybe you don't need it yet or ever. But for me, I was miserable. Don't let that scare you, but I was miserable. I just feel like it's important to know. You just need to be aware that, like, if you're anything like me and you're riddled with anxiety and what ifs, I couldn't do it on my own. And that's totally okay. I just want you to know that asking for help, seeking out help in whatever way that is, whatever that looks like, is totally okay and totally normal. Most people probably need it, unfortunately, from my experience. One of the hardest things is that when you're in the middle of it, like that November of my freshman year, it feels like it's never going to end. It literally feels like it's never going to end. Like I'm stuck in this repetitive loop of exhaustion and sadness and anger. It feels like it's permanent. The best thing that I ever heard from my therapist during this time was that no matter what, time continues to move. Time doesn't stop with you where you're at. And obviously, during the good times, we hate that. We wish time would just stop so we could bottle it up. But in this situation, it is a blessing to sit there and be like, wait, I can do anything for 4 months. Anything is possible to do for 4 months. That's going to end. And then I'm going to have a break. And then I'm going to reevaluate where I'm at, reevaluate my decisions, and go from there. No matter how you feel, time will pass. You don't have to feel like this forever. And you won't. That is like the best thing about it. And as hard as this season was, it taught me skills that I will value and use for the entire life. This, going through this, has made me the most emotionally mature I've ever been. And I know myself so well. I have learned my boundaries, what it means when my body is trying to tell me something. I have learned everything you can think of to know about yourself. It's made the way that I move through life so much easier. Everything you can think of, I became better because I went through this and I came out on the other side. It made me a more patient person. I became less rigid in my decisions, but going through this has made me value the good times so much more. I want to leave you with a little bit of encouragement because that can feel really down to talk about things like that. But again, I just feel like it's important. I'm not saying this is going to happen to you, but I do feel like it's important to talk about it. No one talks about it, and that is our biggest fault by far. Let me tell you some of the best things that you're going to experience in college because you're going to experience a lot of fabulous things, okay? Some of my favorite college memories happened in apartments and on late night drives, movie nights, and honestly, just sitting on the floor of our house until 2 a.m. talking. If you're worried because you're 2 weeks in and you haven't found your people, or you're even a semester in and you haven't found your people, don't worry. I did not become good friends with my roommates now, two of them, until probably mm, spring semester of my sophomore year, and I love them to pieces. So, you haven't failed. Your time is almost here, and you're gonna have an absolute blast. College did not automatically become easier overnight. It became easier because I learned how to adapt and ask for help. I learned how to find my people, and most importantly, let go of the idea that I have to have the most perfect college experience. So if you're scared because you're about to start college, I want you to know it is completely normal for you to be nervous, okay? There's nothing wrong with you. Perfectly normal to feel overwhelmed by this experience. You're not wrong if college doesn't automatically feel like the most perfect experience of your life, okay? 4 years ago, I literally could not imagine sitting here and telling you these things. Yeah, I'm not kidding when I tell you I thought that my life was over because I left home. But now I'm getting ready to graduate. I made it. So if you're currently packing up your bedroom or getting ready to move into the dorm or are moving into the dorm and you're scared, I hope this gives you a little bit of peace of mind. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to love every second of it. You don't have to become a completely different person. You just have to keep showing up for yourself. This version of you that is scared to start college doesn't even know how proud the version of you 4 years later is going to be. If this video helped you or you have questions, leave them in the comments. I remember how it felt to be in your shoes, and I want to be as of much help for you as possible because I wish I'd had that. So let me know anything at all I can do to help ease your mind. Because as bad as my experience might have been at the beginning, I've had the best 4 years. A little bit of encouragement for you from the Lord, Psalms 34, if you're feeling a little low. A few verses from it that really stood out to me during this time and that really helped me were from this chapter. I sought the Lord, and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. This is a chapter in the Bible that I have gone back to literally since experiencing this, so hopefully it leaves you with a little bit of peace. Good luck. You're going to do great, and I'm so proud of you, and have the best time.